Dun, dun.
Hello and welcome to this week's Energy Shot podcast. This is the last week before the summer holiday, and we are Matt Taylor and my name is Nicole Ercolani, and we have decided to produce this podcast is so to give you some weekly updates, which is now a monthly update. We have to be very clear. We will have a month off. We come back on the first Monday of September, but in the meantime, Matt did like all work and put together the most important points for this summer month of August. So you still know where to go and what to do and what's coming up to you. So let's get started. Hi, Matt. How are you this week?
Good. Yes, it's another year gone by. We're having our little month break. And then we come back for our weekly sessions.
Yeah.
Maybe we change it up a little bit, switch it up a little bit. I don't know.
We do.
We'll talk about it because I'm going to Switzerland to see you.
Yes. We will spend the full week together here, so that will be wonderful.
Yes, that will be fun. Yes, well, just to finish off July, go through August, beginning of September now, so that we have the key points. So the end of July is bringing in a Jupiter retrograde. So Jupiter retrograde, which we talked a little bit about last week, it's in Aries. It starts this week as we go into the energetic week. So we are with the more optimistic, miracle, beneficent planet, more the generous planet, more the things come easily, right? It's a big planet. Very interestingly, I think it's interesting anyway, is that Jupiter is the middle planet, right, between the Sun and Pluto. It sits in the middle, and it shares more energy than it receives from the Sun. It's like a mini sun.
That's so interesting.
So it's so interesting, right? So it's really like the sharing element in the planets. So here it's kind of interesting because it's the planet of miracles. Is that we create miracles by the way that we share, right? Not but what we receive, right? Which is what we think, oh, this came to me, it's a miracle. But really it's what we open inside of us that we can become bigger, expand, grow, is the beginning of the miracle that we start. So the more that we are unblocking ourselves, growing, transforming, realizing things about ourselves, ways to expand, then the potential for miracle becomes as well. The more that we share, the more miracles we get. So Jupiter retrograding in Aries. Aries is the sign of me, my existential question, who am I, kind of stuff. So here we're retrograding in on ourselves as to where we can share more. How can I be a greater sharer, right? How can I share more? Now, this is not a logical sharing. This is not, but I do so many things in the day and I do this for all these people, right? This is more an energetic sharing, right? Which comes from, being able to say, I want to be sharing more light in the world. How do we do that? Well, we are always receiving. So we're always receiving from the light, from the cosmic force in the middle, from the quantum force. But this is dependent on what energies I'm sharing. So here we're going back into a retrograde in Aries, which is really looking at who I am. What do I want to be? What's my purpose? What do I want to start? What do I want to revisit in terms of the sparks of light that I want to share? Yeah. And then also it goes back into Pisces. So which is where it's been most of the year. So Jupiter will then continue retrograding in Pisces, and then it will stop. And Jupiter in Pisces is more about, really about more of the higher transcendental stuff that we're sharing. So over the summer and the end of this year, we're really reviewing our purpose, what we're sharing, what we're connecting to deeper things in ourselves in order to expand, in order to grow, in order to create more miracles in our lives. So it's a very interesting one as it goes across the Aries into Pisces retrograde. And this will be the last time it's in Pisces. It'll stay in Pisces for the rest of the year, so Jupiter rules Pisces. And this means it's really opening up to that big sharing, that big kind of cosmic, quantum, spiritual essence that we are. And so it taps a lot into purpose, why we're here, what are we doing, giving us, reviewing the things that we need to open in ourselves in order to go to our next level. So Jupiter is, really also, because it's so big, it's magnifying the issue. So the issue is more clear, right? What is that block of, that grain of sand that is just stuck in our sharing and that we need to clear out? In other words, what is that reactive behavior or that old trauma or that old pain that I need to see and make more evident in order for me to expand?
Yeah. That's
okay. Any questions on that?
No, there are no questions. I think I can feel these influences already. I think these planets, when they do stuff even a little bit before and after, you can feel this vibrational field turning up in the consciousness when you're like a little bit trained to do that. And I think that makes so much sense for this current moment. Yeah.
And we already have Pluto and Saturn retrograding, and Neptune. So Jupiter will be the fourth. Now Jupiter retrograde, we've got 4 planets retrograding. Now all of these 4 planets are more distant from the sun, so they affect bigger circles around us. So Jupiter affects Jupiter and Saturn affect our communities, more like the groups that are immediately around us. So our work community or our social community or our friends or the places that we live, this kind of community feeling. So we're also revising or reviewing how I feel about my place in groups, in social activities. Okay, so that's a little bit more fundamental, and also communities and social interactions and places where I work, places where I socialize, where I learn, whatever I do in a group is all being reviewed. So there's possibilities here of where, you might be a member of some kind of group that sort of says, let's revisit, what we're truly doing here, or what is the purpose of this group, or what is the purpose of our work, or how can we share more, in this business and stuff like that, right? So that could be possible with the Jupiter retrograde, and that will continue until the end of October, more or less. On the 28th of July, we have a new moon, Leo. The Leo is very exciting, very important. It's ruled by the sun. So the sun is the sharing element in our atmosphere. Leo is very interesting Kabbalistically because it's the opposite of most months. So in any astrology, we know that when the moon is getting bigger, we're more like what we want to grow. And then when the moon is getting smaller, it's more like what I want to let go of, what I've grown, what I've seen, and now I want to do away with that and bring in more of this, right? In Leo, it's the other way around. Leo is the creative and destructive month, right? So we know that whatever positive is the negative of the month. Being ruled by the sun, it's a creator, right? This is the creative month. If you know Leos, they put themselves in the middle of things and they create things, right? They are ruled by the sun. So when they walk in a room, they put themselves in the center and they feel like they're going to, take over the room and create how the room's going to be. They're a very big energy, like they're very dynamic people, right? They're not really wallflowers, they're rock and roll stars. They bring in a big energy because they really feel in their energy like being near the sun, right? But interestingly, you would think that because the creative part of the month is the first half and the more letting go is the second half, that we'd have that. But actually, the destructive part, the most destructive part, is actually the beginning. So this is a very hot energy. Like the beginning of Leo, the first part up to the sun is like burning energy. The most destructive things have happened in the beginning of Leo that we can think of. Things a lot to do with the Nazis, with burning of temples, with riots, with all sorts of things, through our history have happened, in the beginning of the first 2 weeks of Leo. So why is that? It's because Leo is a fire sign and the internal element is also fire. and it's ruled by the sun, right? So we are bringing in a burning energy into this. And we know that there's a 3-week period where everything is magnified. It's the last week of Cancer, which we are in now. Everything is like looking like a great big movie, oh my God. And the first 2 weeks of Leo. And in this time, everything is magnified, right? So with this Jupiter retrograde, we're really seeing where we're destructive and we need to be more sharing in our own mind. Yes. How we're bringing distraction to things, from the words we say, from the way we think, to, why do things always go like this for me, or why can I never break through this, and why does this? We will see it. We'll have if we're looking, these revelations, these insights that create miracles. So it's a very destructive time of year, but if we have the consciousness, we can really make it a very fruitful time, right? Really transform and see where I can make more light for myself in my life. So it's good to see where we're reactive. It's good to see where we create chaos and mainly distraction, so that we can come out of this. This is a particular 3 weeks where everyone around you is like reactive, saying things without thought, all sorts of things. But if we know that this is the reason, is this 3 weeks, and these particularly first 2 weeks of Leo, then we can remain Zen. Don't let it affect us. In fact, the 9th day of Leo, Kabbalistically, is the most negative day of the year.
Interesting.
The 9th day of Leo, every time we come to it, is the day when there's only negative energy in the cosmos. The light is fully withdrawn. So the first 10 days of Leo, more or less the first 2 weeks, are very, very intense. It's like just being in an oven, right? So it's the work of sharing here, becoming sharing, is really intensified and not being reactive and destructive.
So that would mean make sure from July 28th until like 5th, 6th, 7th, like make sure you're like stay as Zen as possible, as neutral.
Yes, well, it's the last week of Cancer, so from this week into the first 2 weeks, so about to the 9th or 10th of August. That's right. So we're really it's really, as you said, that's right, just to be as Zen as possible and be creative and sharing as possible. We have to create that energy ourselves, right? Kabbalistically, in the Babylonian times, the 2 temples were the center where energy was coming in, and the energy was shared by the Kabbalists, right? So we know in Israel, it's the high point of energy. Well, there's other energetic points in the world, of course, but these central points are here, and they were destroyed in the first 2 weeks, well, on the 9th day of Leo, because they weren't intensifying in the consciousness enough, and it was whole short circuited, right? So this is also fed into many historic events as well. So this is a very intense time.
Really interesting, on the other hand, is that Sirius is having, on the other hand, such a high vibe at the moment. And what do the Kabbalists say to Sirius? Because what I heard, and I don't know if I heard it from you, I don't remember exactly, but I think I did, that Sirius is actually the connector to the central sun, and Sirius is like being the portal to our sun in order for our sun to...
That's right. Well, Sirius is really important for the Lionsgate energy, right? So, Lionsgate has lost a lot of its meaning. I think it's people are doing things and they're not really knowing what they are. But ancient Egyptians, with that big lion, it's very famous lion statue. It aligns with 3 key stars, fixed stars, that actually create a really positive energy, and that usually happens
8/8
on the 8th of August, and that is it's around that time. I mean, it's not always that time, but because it's always the same date, anything that happens on the same date as in a Gregorian date is aligned with the sun, right? Because that's why we use the moon, because the moon is it's not a fixed thing, right? It's right. So this is still an energetic force, and it's something that the Egyptians really wanted to harness. But Sirius is really a fixed star of bringing in new consciousness or new ideas or new wisdom. Like that is what it really is. And some people have it in their chart. If it's activated, in your chart, is that people are bringing in new ideas or new consciousness. But the sun is consciousness as well. So, it was really like, it also taps on another fixed star called Danube, I think it is, which is in Leo, 15 degrees Leo, which would in the middle of Leo. So, so usually this is a Leo sign, right? Lionsgate, Leo, 8th of August. It's usually around this, right? So it's all lined up around that. And it's it taps in also to the pyramids in particular angles. And the pyramids were built around these Lionsgate energy. Most people don't know that.
What I find really interesting is that that this Lion's Gate happens in the same time where the sun is completely in its darkest moments. And that like the sun retrieves its light, and then Sirius comes in and brings the light in on another level. And so that means like when you react to the negativity of these first 2 weeks of the new moon in Leo, that means you're not capable of like really accessing the light that the Sirius situation brings in. That's my feeling to that.
Yeah, the light really withdraws over these 3 weeks, so that you're left with more the intensity of the negative aspect. And on the 9th day of Leo, which is 9 days after the new moon of Leo, so it's never the same Gregorian date, but you count 9 days after the new day. That is when there is absolutely none, and we don't eat, we don't drink, we don't take anything into the body because there's only negative energy. So that's mainly what we do on that day. Is we have a whole big,
by the way, if anybody.
Oh, right. Yes, it's almost the same day. I think the Lion's Gate is 8th, and I think this year the 9th and the 10th of August is the most negative day. So that actually this year they're all falling around the same point. And then on the 11th of August, we go somewhat differently, right? This will be the full moon of August, a full moon of Leo, and this Kabbalistically is soulmates. It turns on its head and becomes, this is the lunar sort of opportunity or lunar gate to connecting to your soulmate. Why is that? Because what the Kabbalists understood is that when the moon is receiving the light from the sun, it's not always exactly on. It's not like direct. But the Leo Aquarius full moon, the full moon of Leo in Aquarius, is the only full moon where the sun and the moon are in equal reception.
Wow.
So the masculine, feminine, inverted commas, energy, are in direct reception. This is soulmate energy, right? Because the two people come together and they can make a direct reception, one being a complete vessel, one being a complete share of light, right? So every full moon of Leo, we have this, it's called Tu B'Av, which is like being able to open the space to connect to your soulmates. And that doesn't mean you're just your intimate soulmate. It could be your right clients.
Yeah.
You're connecting to the family better, connecting to your friends better, or more friends, different friends, just whatever we're meant to be on your next level. So, that's super powerful. So these 3 weeks, the Lion's Gate, the most negative day, the most soulmates, there's a lot happening in Leo that is creative and destructive, creating new relationships, new soulmate energies, new miracles, insights into these things. But if we're reactive, and if we're just sort of so burnt by all the energy around us, yes, that's correct. And bearing in mind, we have 4 planets retrograding during this time.
But there's a lot of triggers around because there's a lot of to be reviewed.
Reviewed, exactly.
Yeah. So would you say it would be a good tip for people because when they feel that they're triggered, that they would look for people that emanate more light, and so to connect to people?
Connect, staying with people that are very conscious, very calm, very zen, not really reactive is so much better, right? Or even withdrawing for yourself and just doing your own thing, and just, what if people are shouting at you or reacting to you or getting upset, it's not to take it personally, right? But to just, work through the situation as much sharing and as much light as possible. This is the name of the game, right? Okay, great. Towards the end of August, Uranus goes retrograde. So that's another one. And also sorry, I got to bounce back, but in the first week of August, we have the North Node, Uranus and Mars. They are all on 18 degrees August. So this is going to create, Uranus is about change, or my freedom, and Mars is about my will, my desires. So together they make a lot of free will by shaking things up. Like, everything is moving and shaking. We've had massive earthquakes. We've had a prime minister of Japan who was shot. We've had political things happening that don't make any sense, right? Financial systems that are up and down, a war in Russia, right? This is all, plus with the North Node, it's the karmic destiny changer. So here, the karmic destiny changer of free will, this freedom aspect, what I truly desire is so hot, right? It's so burning, it's so up and down. It's the high point of all of these kind of chaotic things that we've seen going on in the first week of August, which is in the 3 weeks, which is, it's all destructive or creative, depending on where our consciousness is. Like, do we have a consciousness of, I want to, in my free will, of being able to be a sharer of light, or do I have a consciousness of just being reactive and destructive and chaotic all the time? This is a real turning point that we will see many things about ourselves where we've been in our own robotic old movies, and if we have just the desire to change, to transform, to shake things up, we can set ourselves into a new karmic destiny. Happening in Taurus, what it will mean is that very earthy financial things, nature things, environment things. I mean, you look at the ridiculous things with the weather in Britain where it's over 40 degrees, right?
Down Switzerland.
Switzerland as well, right? Or, and it's then in Barcelona, I'm sitting here on 30. Like, it doesn't make any logical sense, right? While all these northern countries are burning and catching on fire, I'm sitting here very comfortable thinking about, other things. So it's illogical. It's not really making sense, but it's very extreme. Mars is like passion, desire. It's a very red planet. It's a very, with all this fire energy of Leo as well. It's really burning. So we need to be able to really focus it or harness it. Uranus is a very erratic sign. It's the thing that shakes everything up. This is typical fires, arsons, earthquakes, volcanoes.
And it's already on, no?
It's already on. Protests.
London is burning, they say.
Protests, sudden shootings, all of that, it's all what it is, that is all bubbling up. All of a sudden crack, all of a sudden bang, that is very Mars and Uranus, with a karmic destiny changer of the North Node as well. So all of this is moving like that. It's a very intense month that we'll be having, with Uranus going retrograde at the end, revising where we're not free, revising where we're not moving, revising where we're not shaking up our ego in order to bring more light. Uranus is such a light bearer, because it's really shaking things up so that we're not comfortable. It's in the sign of Taurus, which is comforts, right? This is the negativity of Taurus, is comforts, addictions, keep it the same way. Don't, this is the way it's always been. They're very good. They have a lot of positive traits, but Uranus and Mars in there is ripping out anything that we're addicted to, that we're attached to, that we're comfortable with, right? And setting us free from that. But we've got to let go. That is the key word. Yeah, for all of this energy in the first part of August is just to let it go. Ding, ding, ding. And this is what Taurians are very good at. They're very placid people. They're very patient people, kind people. I mean, they get to a point and they'll explode, right? What we don't want is that final explosion. We just want to stay there, to stay in there zen, right? Yes. Now, as that's happening, the moon is going past the south node of Scorpio, which is crisis. When Scorpio When the South Node's in Scorpio, it's always a crisis, always a trauma, bringing up old crises, old traumas, old pains, old things where people have betrayed me or attacked me, or things that are, really like, I'm never going to let this go and I'm going to get them back. Revenge feelings. This is why everything is called a crisis in this current, South Node, North Node point, walking out the door crisis, breathing crisis, health crisis, financial crisis, right? It's all feeling like it's all attacking me and it's not, you know what I mean? Right? It's a movie, but what it's saying is very true, that we are really going back into old crisis on a personal level, right? It might be your money, it might be your health, it might be your relationships, it might be just who you are is all a constant state of crisis, right? Whatever it is, if it's emotional, mental, psychological, sexual, particularly sexual and psychological in Scorpio, right? All of that stuff will come back up. If you've been abused, if you've been raped, if you've been attacked, if all of the old stuff from before could come back in new ways where you see it. So it's not going to be easy this month into September. And then in the beginning of September, we'll have a Mercury retrograde, which will be the 6th planet retrograding in September. We'll have 6. So, do your best. Do your best. That's what I always say. Do your best. Yeah. I mean, the good thing about it is it's summer and we'll all be floating around in water, and we've got a little space to, we're not so like in the middle of working in our heaviest point of our year. We have summer when usually in Europe and the northern countries we're taking a bit of time out, so all of this is going to have a bit more space around it.
I think I just spent 4 days in a Kundalini yoga yatra, so that's like a retreat, but it's called yatra. And what I think is really interesting that I heard from my teacher Hadi Jivan, he said, God in English, you could say it's the generating, organizing, delivering energies of the universe. And I really liked that. So when you experience in the next month some crazy batshit crisis where you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Remember, you're still alive. It's a blessing. All is good. You're good. You will survive, most probably. And things can change. And these things come up because they're hold in your physical body anyway. If you think of your physical body like a data cloud, and you think of the cosmos like an activating software for the data cloud for certain programs that you no longer need, then I think it's a great opportunity to be conscious about the areas of yourself where you can really start to work for more freedom, for more peace within, for more clarity maybe as well, And I think this is the great opportunity of this month, if you're able to stay on on a more rather neutral lane. You don't have to be positive, but just remember, keep telling yourself, make it a mantra, keep telling yourself, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Someone's yelling at you. Tell innerly,
yes.
Internally, bless you. People don't react in a way and they don't shout at you or scream at you because they're really mad at you. It's actually their suffering. And so what I started to do is whenever I meet people, when they're really nice people and I meet them, in a cafeteria or wherever, I always say, oh, thank you, bless you. I try to get the good out as I can. And but when someone is reacting negatively, I bless them as well, especially those. So maybe that's for this month and a half of distortion and chaos, try to stay neutral. And whatever triggers you is the direction your data cloud wants to show you, okay, honey, there is a program that you have saved in your data cloud, and this program is no longer serving us.
Yes. I like this idea of letting go of suffering. This is the North Node, South Node is very much
Yeah.
was an axis that happened when Buddhism started. So, which is all about letting go of suffering, right? And so this is the very, very much about this North Node, South Node, Taurus, the Scorpio moment that we're in, is to let it go. Don't hold on. Not holding on to things, not whether they're physical or emotional or traumatic or suffering, is to really just let it pass, as you said. It's such a great thing. And also with the negative 3 weeks. But then, towards the end of the year, if we can just do all of this work and all of these planets that are continuously retrograding at the same time year after year at the moment, but they're pushing us, right, to really to cleanse or detox stuff out. So
Yes.
as more we let go of that and cleanse it out and detox that out, it's sort of like it freshens us up, and it's like, oh my goodness, I can now go to this level. So you really Nicole's going to do her best. I'm going to do her best, and not to come into this moment with doubts or fears or even more oh my God, what's going to happen? But to just understand that the atmosphere around you is set in a way, and you go and do your best, and I'll do my best, and you will put in the best certainty that we know how to put in about, wherever the universe shows me, wherever I need to be during this moment, it's the best place for me, and it's going to take me to my next level.
Yeah.
If we just come from the consciousness that sets us up for success, and just to go with it without holding on to old movies, old stories. And we're very subjective about ourselves. The things we think we're good at, we're not. The things we think we're not good at, we actually are, right? And so on and so on. So, and the things that we think are the problem are not the problem. The things that we think are not the problem are actually the problem, right? We're very subjective about ourselves. So it's really to try and see where the light is taking me during this period, really let go, really open up, and just go with it.
Yeah, and I would like to say one more thing about this negativity, this negative area. In Kundalini Yoga, we speak of 10 bodies that each human has. And one of the 10 bodies is actually the second body. It's the soul body is number one. And then the second body is the negative mind. And then the third body is the positive mind. And the fourth body is the neutral mind. So when you hear about the negative mind, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to have anything to do with that. This is the negative mind. It's so negative. But actually what it is, it's the mind that protects you. So you have to think that we as humans, we come on this planet, and what we want to do is we want to thrive. We want to enjoy this time here on planet Earth. We want to experience certain kind of emotional parameters. And so the negative mind, what it does is it has a stored system, which is okay, last time we went there and it felt like this, it was really dangerous. So this time I'm going to alert you up front, and I will tell you not to do that. And I would tell you not to go there, and I will protect you from that. That's what we think of the negative mind. So the negative mind is actually the protective mind, also called. And I think that's really interesting to see when you experience a lot of negativity in your current reality. That means there are a lot of things, programs that are we have experienced that. And the question is always that you can ask yourself is, okay, I reacted very negatively. I was triggered, whatever. And then you go in and you're like, so where did I feel that before? What was the situation? I had this similar feeling before. And that's sometimes very difficult. Maybe you can meditate on it. You close your eyes and you feel into the feeling, and you will find very, very interesting things. And then you can start to really understand why you attract these situations. And that's called resonance. I think it's really beautiful. And I think it's a wonderful system that is actually there for us. Yeah, that is that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We will see you on the 5th of September.
Yes, we will be back then.
We will.
And in the meantime, we will have some stories on our Instagram, because we will spend a week together in Switzerland and do some very nice things. So we wish you all a wonderful summertime and a wonderful holiday time. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Right? Matt, you're so funny.
We'll answer them in September.
Okay, guys. Bless you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great time. Bye.